I think the other big development, I don't know if it's biggest, but it might be for a lot of these schools, is the expansion of the playoff. Because as much as the SEC has dominated, how many schools have made the playoff from the SEC? Is it? I know Bama, Georgia, and LSU.
Bama, Georgia, LSU,
Auburn was a year
Auburn,
before.
No, wait, Auburn
first year.
Auburn was before the last of the BCS.
Before, yeah, it was
Did they make it the first year though?
No, it was the last
No,
year.
that was
of the BCS.
2013 was the last of the BCS.
No, I remember like, didn't Oregon play Auburn?
Yeah, the last year before the no. Oregon played Florida State. Oregon played
Florida State. That's right. Yeah. So is it only 3?
Seems like there should be more than that.
Thanks.
But maybe not.
Yeah.
Tennessee didn't.
Nobody else from the East, that's for sure.
Florida hasn't. South Carolina hasn't.
Yeah, Georgia,
Auburn
Alabama,
would
LSU.
be it.
Yeah.
So I look at it this year. I'm looking at this thing and saying, we don't know how many they're going to get in. But I think you can realistically say, I think there's 9 teams that can walk into media day or walk into the season and say, I've got a chance. And it's Georgia. It's obviously Georgia. It's Alabama, Texas, Ole Miss, LSU, Missouri, Tennessee, Oklahoma, and Texas A&M. I think all are staring at a season where they could say, I can make the playoffs if a lot of things go right. I'm not saying A&M and Oklahoma are sitting there saying, we got this. But the possibilities here for all of those schools, if things break right, if the schedule breaks right, like Tennessee and Oklahoma are playing each other, I think in the third week, like kind of like a swing game for playoff contention. Again, it doesn't put you in, but it keeps you alive. What are your thoughts on who could potentially make this? Maybe someone else is going to yell at me and go, no, we could do it too. Because, I mean, there's no lack of bravado in the SEC as their chance. But and what this would mean as just I mean, look, the fans are always excited, but I think most years you went in thinking, how good could we really get? And what that means. What do you think, Pat?
Absolutely. I think this is one of the reasons this is the most interesting year of SEC football ever. Is no conference probably is going to benefit more from the expanded playoff than the SEC. It's been the deepest, it's been the best, and so you're going to get more of your teams in there. And I think, yes, those 9 that you named off, well, varying degrees of likelihood, but sure, they can all right now, mid-July, sit there and say, hey, why not? And I will give you one more with at least a puncher's chance if a lot of things go well, and that's Kentucky, which I think the schedule sets up well. They've got 8 starters back on offense. They've got 10 on defense. They did their usual rent a quarterback through the portal, and we'll see if Brock Vandagriff, who was beaten out by Carson Beck at Georgia, if he turns out to be really good, then that could be the key component there. They start off with 4 games in a row at home, including their first 2 SEC games, which is South Carolina and Georgia. If you knock off Georgia and you start 4-0, hey, you're going to be in the mix. They got to go at Ole Miss. They got to go at Tennessee. They got to go at Texas. But there's no easy schedules in the SEC. That's not, prohibitively harder than a lot of other ones, I don't think. So just in case, I'm not going to sit here and say I'm not predicting Kentucky to go to the playoff, but I think you could almost add them as a 10th possibility there.
Apologies to the Cats. I mean, Florida, they get it all together. They got the schedule, but yeah.
Florida.
No, it's wild, right? I mean, everyone's got a shot.
Yep.
Vanderbilt, Dan?
I think they're still in the building mode. It's talking season. We're positive about everybody.
The Bulldogs.
Clark Lee did say when we were in Destin, he said Clark Lee did say when we were in Destin in the spring that it's his best roster. So we'll take that for what that's worth.
I mean, that's pretty good. No, I think this is going to be, it's just a different mindset you're going into. And I think this is what, there's a lot of bashing of the playoff. Well, not every game matters. There's going to be a 3-loss team in there. And and I get it. It cuts against the sensibilities of how this sport has long been run. It was always this idea that somebody would create an absolute juggernaut of a team and win all their games by huge margins. I always think like Bud Wilkerson's Oklahoma teams like set the tone for how college football is viewed. There's this monster out in the plains and they just are destroying it. That's the national champion, right? And everyone was fine with that. We were voting. We had sports writers voting in the like 40s. Like there's no TV, right? Like they're getting games. They're just reading like scores that are coming across the telegraph, and then they're ranking the teams, and that's how we just. But that's how we did it, right? And one
the most
slip
preposterous thing ever, really.
The most preposterous thing ever. The AP poll champions or UPI. Remember the UPI?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, these guys in the 1938, they're riding trains to games, smoking in the press box. Great times, by the way.
It'd have been kind of fun to ride a train around, you know?
Yeah, working for the Enid, Oklahoma Daily Sunset or something, right? The afternoon paper.
Yeah. But you're going to the games. Hell, the Enid paper doesn't exist anymore.
Probably,
so, you know.
there's probably a paper in Enid.
I hope there is.
Good folks at Enid.
I hope so.
I love the occasional. I'll get this like something going. I can't believe you randomly picked this, like my old hometown mentioned on the pod. Old Enid doesn't get a lot of pub out there anymore. No. Yeah. They just absolutely get hammered drinking scotch on the way home and make a vote as the scores came in. See what Army did? You know,
Army beat Villanova 6-0.
That's it. No, Army couldn't beat Oklahoma. I'm picking. This was the vote. The national champ. Everyone was, hey, okay, great. And then people are like, this playoff, this is terrible. We need to go back to the old system. Like that's the old system, folks. That's the old system. They didn't even there were no highlights.
No.
Maybe they get the radio, you know, WGN out of Chicago. They're playing the Notre Dame game. Listen to a couple plays of that. Yeah, totally ridiculous. But you went in and so you thought, hey, there's going to be this. And then we're like, well, if there's this juggernaut here, and then there's this other juggernaut over here, maybe we could meet up in a bowl game. But then the bowls all had their little contracts, so that wouldn't necessarily work. But maybe that would sort some stuff out. And that's our system. But the system now is going to be get me in. Because in the NFL, and I know you got to buy, but like the NFL, it's like get in the tournament. That's all they talk about. Just get in. Maybe you can host games. Maybe you can. But once you're in, anything can happen.